What's up, my friends? It is Mr. Gallows, of course, who'd you think it was, and welcome back to another wonderful, wondrous movie review. So, Dreamfasters, this weekend I was finally able to get out and see the much anticipated, highly anticipated, long awaited Avatar 2. And, my initial reaction walking out of the theater is, man, did this thing deliver, in many more ways than one. Well, I'll say that, it delivered as far as it could. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, before we get started, I did want to mention that yes, I am a general fan of the first movie. I would say that I enjoyed it, yes, it is a bit generic, yes, it does borrow from other storylines, but overall, I think it's a really decent fantasy and sci-fi movie. And, at the same time, I'm really, really happy to see a visionary director doing something that isn't a remake or isn't a reimagining or isn't a continuation of some other fantasy property, right? It's nice to see a visionary director doing something original. We need more of that in Hollywood, and you gotta respect that. Here's something that is not Star Wars, that's not Lord of the Rings, that's not Star Trek, that's not Harry Potter. This is something new. It's a brand new original fantasy series. And, I'm happy that Avatar is continuing. I'm glad that James Cameron has so many movies in the works and that he's got this whole story to tell. That really makes me excited. I'm really glad. I'm really happy to see these brand new original fantasy properties. And so going into Avatar 2, I was equally that excited. I really wanted to see how James Cameron was going to continue this story. Now, with the first Avatar, as most movies are, it's a great jumping off point into the universe, and that's exactly what the first Avatar is. It introduces us to this beautiful new universe, it introduces us to all of these characters and all these situations and all these notions and this belief system, and then it kind of launches us into the universe. But with Avatar 2, this is where you really need to set up some solid storylines with some great character development and world building and everything that comes with that. And I will say that Avatar 2 definitely does not disappoint with the world building. James Cameron is a masterclass visuals director. The CGI, the animation, the overall feel of the world, the creatures, the underwater sequences, the magic that is involved with this movie. James Cameron just nails these visuals. He's basically picking up where George Lucas left off with the prequels, right? With pushing CGI and all these advanced computer graphics and the next wave of kind of animation and facial capture and just kind of and motion capture as well. Everything cutting edge about new CGI, James Cameron is right on top of it and he is executing it perfectly. But it's not simply just the special effects. Like I mentioned before, it's the world building. In the first Avatar movie, we didn't get to see the ocean side of Pandora. We were always in the forest doing something, but we literally never saw the oceans. Maybe we saw a lake or something like that at one point, but we never saw the ocean and especially what's underneath the ocean. And James Cameron, thankfully, takes a very deep dive, pun intended, right into literally the heart of the ocean. And we get to see just this entire brand new world of Pandora just opens up before your eyes. If you thought that Pandora was beautiful before, wait until you see what is going on under the ocean, because James Cameron has created a truly breathtaking, captivating world. Seriously, there are scenes in this movie where it literally feels like they were filming a nature documentary on another planet. Like Pandora is a real planet and they took a nature documentary crew to go film underwater sequences. Like, that's how good it is. And it's not just that it's fantastic, it's that it feels so real. Nothing is so fantastical and so overblown that it takes you out of the universe. It's very, very organic and very natural and very real. And that's James Cameron's style of filming, right? Is that documentary style kind of, it is almost like a National Geographic kind of documentary, right? But that's just his filming style, and I absolutely love it. And he really takes the time to slow down and explore this beautiful, glorious kingdom that is is under the sea, and it is great. And let me just say, the whales in this movie, wow. I mean, absolutely mesmerizing. Some of the coolest creatures I have ever seen in a sci-fi fantasy movie ever in my entire life. I mean, here on Earth, we're all about saving these whales. Man, screw that. Save those whales! Another really great aspect of this film, and this actually surprised me quite a bit, was actually the children. Of course, Jake and Neytiri have children now, and they're passing their knowledge and wisdom and skills on to a new generation, and that's what it's about. It's about them raising their children in this this brand new environment that they find themselves in. And it really surprised me to see how well the children were handled in this film, because usually when the focus is on children too much, it becomes a little bit cheesy, a little bit campy, and a little bit overdone. But no, it was actually the exact opposite of that. The children actually add most of the magic and most of the charm all throughout this movie. And that I found to be very heartwarming in a lot of ways. It's just nice to see a director who treats children maturely, right? How they should be treated and should be explored in films, right? Their character development doesn't have to be immature or campy, right? It's like their character development can be just as mature as the adults in this film, and that's exactly how James Cameron handles it, and I absolutely love it. And, of course, the action sequences are also amazing in this film as well. I mean, James Cameron is obviously one of the all-time greatest action directors to ever exist in cinema. And once again, he just completely blows you away with these action sequences. I mean, the air battles, the explosions, the disasters, the reactions that people have, all the characters when they're all coming together and to fight these battles, and the ferocity and the resolve, in these characters. He really captures these fight sequences and these battle sequences so well, and he makes them so visceral and so real. Even though it is a very, very polished, very refined film, he still finds a way to make all these action sequences very, very organic and real, and it really keeps you on the edge of your seat, man. It's super exciting. But alas, my friends, that's pretty much where the magic ends. Because even though this film has incredibly amazing visuals and CGI, well, that's basically all it has. And I want to make this very clear. This is not a bad film in any way, shape, or form. All I'm saying is that, my initial kind of thoughts coming out of the film are just that, I was hoping for a harder hitting storyline, I guess, than that, because it's basically the same as the first film. It's the same characters, it's the same enemy, it's the same basic situation with slight changes, except now we're just moving from the jungle and the forest into the water world. But it's the same story. And for a movie that's over 3 hours long, you have to do something. You have to introduce some kind of new story component, a new enemy, a new aid, right? New characters, new races, new situations, right? New kind of notions and ideas and situations that can kind of weave themselves into the storyline to add more meat, to progress and evolve the story and make it better, and that's what Avatar unfortunately didn't do. I just personally feel, as a writer myself, you have to add more complex elements into the storyline. It feels like they had so much to work with, but they just didn't execute on as much as they could have. It's almost like part 2, this was one of those movies where part 2 was maybe a setup for part 3 and part 4. Maybe they were just trying to set certain things up. They weren't that focused on really expanding the story that much. It could be possible, but the thing is you're just kind of left with a little bit of a hollow feeling after you leave the movie theater. Like, you realize that you've seen something great, it was this visual masterpiece, but you're also leaving the theater with a bit of this that was it? To use a random analogy, Avatar 2, I feel, the way I feel about Avatar 2 is the same way that I feel about fast food. Yes, the burger is delicious, but oftentimes it doesn't look like it does on TV. Like on TV, they advertise it as this perfect, delicious burger, and then you get it, and it's not that great. It's kind of like messily and crappily assembled. It tastes really, really good, but it could have been made, it could have been presented so much better, right? Like, that's how I feel about Avatar 2 is, will I go see this in the theater again? Probably, definitely, because, I mean, you got to see this on the big screen in IMAX with a nice sound system, so I'm definitely going to go see this again. Will I put it on my shelf? I don't know, right? It's like kind of like that middle of the road thing. So again, it's not a bad movie. It's actually a really, really great film. It's just not as great as it could have been. So overall, I would say that this is a solid next installment in the Avatar series, but just don't expect much story-wise. That's all I'm saying. So what am I going to give Avatar 2 for an overall score? Well, we'll go with a green belt. Green belt, yeah, that's like a 7 out of 10 on a movie scale, basically. There are so many amazing things to see. This movie is a visual spectacle, groundbreaking, cutting-edge CGI. But it's just a little bit light. That's all I'm saying, is it's just a little bit light on the story. I expected a much harder hitting story. So if you're kind of more on the writing end of things like I am, like a storyteller like I am, you're not going to get much out of this movie. But if you're just going to experience this magical world in IMAX, you are going to be absolutely blown away. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what James Cameron has next. Alright, my friends. Well, that's going to do it for my brilliant review of Avatar 2 right there for you guys. But now comes the best part of the video where I turn it over to all of you. So go ahead and leave all of your thoughts, ideas, notions, opinions down below in the great white void. Make your voice heard about the glorious Avatar 2. And I'll see you guys back here for the next video very soon. As always, take care. 4th off for Jim, why not? Yeah, there we go. This is going to be my last video of the year, by the way, guys. After this, I'll be back with a brand new Dark Crystal series after the first of the year, so definitely look forward to that. And I'll probably be back with another update soon before the end of the year. But until then, take care, and I'll see you guys back here for the next video very soon. Peace. Let's be diving into the water.